Koka sunarai sunarayanti. 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 Koka sunarai sunarayanti.
Welcome to TLC, The Light Conversations. I'm your host, Giada del Drago, and this is a podcast and chat show about well-being and creativity, where we interview experts, creators, and teachers around these themes. This is Series 3, Gems and Keys. Today's guest is Giancarlo Canavesio, an entrepreneur, filmmaker, and investor known for his visionary approach to media, technology, and personal development. As the founder of Mango TV, he has produced and distributed transformative documentaries exploring consciousness, psychedelics, and social change. With a background in finance, he has successfully launched and scaled multiple ventures across various industries, blending business acumen with a passion for impact-driven projects. A dedicated advocate for alternative therapies, family systems theory, and transpersonal psychology, he continues to explore the intersection of mind, body, and societal transformation. Based between Ibiza and New York, he enjoys sailing, philosophy, and fostering deep connections. His latest project, Difuso, focuses on fostering human reconnection with self and community.
Be the love, be the light. Hear your voice, spirits calling. Be the love, be the light. Hear your voice, spirits calling.
Welcome, Giancarlo, and thank you for meeting with me today to talk about all these amazing things you do and have done.
Thank you, thank you.
So the way we're running this is you pick a card, and at random we will discuss the topic that you find in there.
So should I give it to you?
You could read the word that's on there at the top.
Okay. Films as tools for emotional and psychological exploration.
Okay, let me take that card from you. Think about that for a second. Films can be cinematic therapy, allowing audiences to process their emotions, even experience catharsis, and gain insight into their own lives. So please tell me your thoughts on films as tools for emotional and psychological exploration.
Wow, that's an interesting topic. So I would start saying that, something people can relate, I think, is when you watch a movie alone, you have a certain experience. Then you like it so much, maybe, and you want to watch it again with some other friends or family. And then the moment you watch it again with someone else, your experience start to be different. It's like because we know that our nervous system co-regulate each other's. And so when you have someone else, inevitably you start looking at the movie through the eyes of the other person. And so why did I mention that? I feel that when you're exposed to a story, emotions, how people go through life, you inevitably you get triggered. If someone is experiencing, abandonment, or sorrow, or stress, or fear, you're so immersed, and now the movie is so well done that it triggers your nervous system. And so that's why some people can watch the same movie and then they remember completely different things. So how are the movies? I don't know if they're therapy, but they can maybe highlight aspect of your personality, your nervous system that might need attention. If you realize that every time, you're for example, for me as a teenager, I fell in love with the movie of Alain Sartre, So all the French movie with Danae Auteuil, Vanessa Paradis, Juliette Binoche. And there was a lot of this movie where there was this woman character which was a little bit like tormented and destructive and self-destructive. There was this movie called The Girl Under the Bridge with Danae Auteuil and Vanessa Paradis. And I find myself loving this destructive character. And so, that I didn't know at the time. It came out later with psychedelic assisted psychotherapy and all kinds of therapy that, I had also a little bit of a tormented childhood. So I would resonate with the self-destructive woman. Woody Allen would call them kamikaze woman, that they kill themselves, but they kill you with them. I know that was a long-winded answer. So for me, movies are not therapeutic by themselves, but they can highlight, issue and psychological notes that that then might need to be explored.
That's a really interesting idea. So what I'm hearing is like if people start to pay attention to the characters they're drawn to, the themes they're drawn to, the stories.
Yeah, the emotions that they feel.
Yeah, then they can start to learn more about themselves.
It's a form of introspection, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Okay, pick the next card, please.
That's fun, the card thing. Okay, Difuso method.
Okay, beautiful. I really want to hear more about this as well. So,
okay, that's a big one.
It is a big one.
For me.
What is the concept? Who is it for? You have narrowed it down to 3 core elements.
Yeah.
But let's start with what inspired you to create it and how you where you're at with it now.
Okay, so the Difuso method is a somatic psychotherapeutical method based on 3 pillars: the somatic psychotherapy, the expanded states, and the community and the rituals. So, it came from mine and my wife's personal experience. We both came from, addictions, both of us, all kinds of addictions. And so we went through this healing process that we started, I don't know, I would say 25 years ago. And so, okay, let's look at these pillars one by one. So the expanded state, those are all the experience that give you some sort of like peak state. So it's a strong emotional experience. The typical expanded states would be the psychedelics. So ayahuasca, magic mushroom, LSD, even MDMA. You have these expanded states where you feel whole, you feel connected. Breath work, holotropic breath work. There's all kind of breath work, but breath work is an expanded state. Sleep deprivation is an expanded state. Darkness retreat is an expanded state. Even yoga, really a walk in the forest or a cold plunge can be an expanded. So an expanded state is an experience that brings you this strong emotional feelings of of being self-connected, of feeling whole, of knowing who you are. Typical ayahuasca retreat. But the issue with the expanded state is that they don't last. So you have an expanded state, but then, the metaphor that the neuropsychopharmacologists use is the metaphor of the snow globe. So you shake the snow globe, everything is possible. You have like this new understanding of who you are and who you're not. But then when you let the snow globe, the old snow go back to, the neurocircuitry, all the wiring goes back to the original wiring. Another metaphor is the cross-country skiing. So you're stuck in the little ski in these deep tracks and it's comfortable. And the expanded states allow you to go out of these tracks. But then the moment that the effects subdue, the ski tends to go back to the tracks because it's easier, it's familiar, it's easier. So this is the expanded state. Then, so people talks about integration after an expanded state. I prefer the term therapy because when people call it, okay, integration, people normally think about, 2-3 Zoom call. If you're lucky, there was one Zoom call when you're back home after maybe 2 weeks, but they usually one Zoom call doesn't do anything. Basically, you need to then work on what you saw. The expanded state doesn't bring you the healing. The another metaphor is the metaphor of the lighthouse. So the expanded states show you the lighthouse, but you need to swim there. It doesn't bring it to you. So then once you see the lighthouse, which is the things you have to address, the thing you want to change, the story you always thought about yourself, which you realize is just a story in that moment, then you need to swim towards the lighthouse. And then the second pillar is the somatic therapy. So the somatic therapy, this whole idea of somatic psychotherapy is based on a movement of somatic psychotherapies like Peter Levine, Gabor Mate, Van der Kolk's The Body Keeps the Score is the seminal important book for this movement of somatic therapies, is this idea that childhood trauma, they're not just a memory in your brain. They're actually a physical neurobiological wounds on your neurosystem, on your nervous system. So you need to heal these wounds on your nervous system, and that happens with different way, but this idea of, creating awareness of where in the body you feel the contraction when your nervous system is activated. So compassion inquiry like Gabor Mate, or body scan. There's many methods, and this might take several months, if not years. And so what the Difuso method, what we are suggesting is that there is a dance between the expanded state and the somatic therapy, where you see the lighthouse, then that vision goes away, and but you remember where it was more or less, and you do the somatic work, and you find the tension in your body, and you try to work on to address the thing you saw in the expanded state for maybe 3-4 months, and then you might want to revisit the expanded states, but already with a better sense of, okay, you're getting closer to the lighthouse, but now you lost it. What does it mean? Is my relationship fulfilling? Does it really nourish me? Is my job? Is my kids? Is this the life I want or I don't want, and why? It can get very confusing. So this dance between the expanded states and the somatic therapy for us worked, and we think it can be very successful. Then as you get closer to this lighthouse and you know who you are, you know what makes you tick, then you start being clear who you are, but then what do you do with this clarity? And that's where the community building, the third pillar is the community building, is the ritual, is the meaning, is the purpose. What do you do with this clarity? We like the Picasso quote, which is the meaning of life is finding your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away. So I feel that once you get this clarity, it's important to have a community where you can develop things together. And also, I don't know if we're going to talk about creativity, but where you create together. So the Difuso method is a combination of these 3 pillars that came out of we tried so many expanded state guide, somatic and transpersonal therapies, so many rituals and community building, and we feel that's the right formula.
It's amazing that you've come to this and you've created this together. And if people want to study it or experience it or learn more about it, how do they? So this Difuso method it's a company by itself, but the Difuso method entered into a joint venture with the real estate developer in Ibiza by the same name. Is Difuso Real Estate. So there is Difuso Real Estate and Difuso method. We hope in the future to export the Difuso method to other real estate development. So right now you can check difuso.net. Thank you for this opportunity, advertisement. I mean, we really have a waiting list.
it's I think also Ibiza it's attracts a lot of people, but we're having good success. We have amazing therapists. But yeah, you can check the website and write us.
Is it the kind of thing that maybe people could experience on retreats? Is that something that you're thinking of?
So the retreat, this word retreat, is usually associated with a period of 1 or 2 weeks.
This sounds like a longer process.
This is 1 to 9 months.
Yeah. So a container.
It's for people that are serious about change.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. So I see not everybody can take 9 months off, but people can. There are digital nomads. People can work. It's it's not a full-on 24 a day like a rehab or a retreat. There are several hours of therapy and expanded state, and we're starting now with the legal one. We do mostly breath work. Yeah. And Shibari. Shibari is an expanded state, developing trust. We were looking into ecstatic dance, darkness retreat. So yeah, 1 to 9 months.
And is this something you do 1-to-1 or in groups?
There's a program. It's bespoke. So the client reach out to us. We start with a first questionnaire, then a deeper questionnaire, then there's some consulting. It depends. Everybody's different. Yeah. It depends the state of the nervous system. If someone is really stress and burnout. Our client mostly are people that are going through a midlife crisis, a burnout, a heartbreak, a divorce, or people in transition. So the program depends on where you are at. If you're really, really stressed, very, very close to burnout, maybe we wait for the cathartic experience, the expanded state. And if people, then we really feel that the healing then needs to be tested and applied to relationship with others. That's why in this, the Difuso real estate offers a community. There's 25 apartments, and there are some for clients and some are for therapists. Yeah. So they will all live in the same neighborhood. We're building a restaurant, a co-working space. There are 3 therapy rooms. So it's this idea of, traditionally people look at 1 month rehabilitation. This is 8 months rehabilitation, but integrated with a lifestyle. Yeah,
lifestyle change, lifestyle transformation. Correct. And it sounds like a combination of therapy, experience, coaching, practice.
Exactly.
Yeah. How cool. Have you seen any effects on your own collaborative relationships through doing this kind of work?
Yes, I've seen an effect on my collaboration because you develop more empathy. Because our business really is to offer a container for people to heal and to be understanding that people are going through hard time. And it's not about what's wrong with you; it's what happened to you. We had clients that, on the surface might sound very narcissistic and transactional, but then you see it's a trauma response, and you develop empathy. And so, I used to be maybe harder with my collaborator, my colleague, but now being in the mental wellness space, you become much more empathic and patient, and you don't react. You don't take it personally. You see the person is suffering,
So it sounds like
it's a good question.
It leads to deeper collaborations and better relationships.
Yeah, more authentic. And more empathic. I think that's the word.
Yeah, empathy. Empathy in business is an interesting idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's the conscious leadership, they call it.
Yeah. Cool. More of that. More of that in the world. The world would be a better place if people were leading with empathy.
Yeah. And awareness that the awareness that, whatever behavior you think you take personally, that it's against you, behind there is suffering. So it's easier said than done, because when you're when your boundary are crossed all the time, then you tend to forget that the person who's been crossing you is got childhood trauma. You think we all have it, deal with it. But so you need to have that distance, that empathy, saying, okay, instead of being angry, how can I help? It's a mental shift which will eventually bring peace in this planet, I think.
Yeah, more empathy. Okay, so next card.
Nice. I love this card situation. Okay.
It leads to some randomness. We don't know where we will jump to.
Neuroscience and storytelling.
Okay, let's have a look at that. Watching movies activates the brain's mirror neurons, fostering empathy and emotional connections. The neuroscience of storytelling.
Yeah. I think we covered that a little bit with the first card, right?
We did explore a bit about sort of, identifying with
I think
psychology.
I mean the most famous storytelling format is the Joseph Campbell hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
So the neuroscience of that. So this idea that you need to leave your comfort, leave your environment. So that's the first step, where you need to have the courage to go and explore something new. And that's already not easy. For so many people, they are in the comfort zone, they're in their neighborhood, they're in their, even maybe a non-fulfilling relationship, but they're used to it. So the idea of leaving everything to go for a walk in the unknown, that's already difficult. But then once that happened, then on their journey, they find all this conflict and dragons, and you have to slay the dragon. And so when you are on the road and you're faced with challenging experience, then you get enlightened. You realize, by slaying the dragon, you realize, who you are, and you get enlightened. And then this, of course, is a metaphor. And then the third part is that then you come back and you bring this knowledge back, right? So what is the neuroscience of storytelling? Is this idea that being human is ultimately changing, being comfortable with change, be comfortable with in getting out of your comfort zone, getting ready to question who you think you are, and then bring back that knowledge. So that what fires all the neurons, this formula that we see in Star Wars, in all the movie, right? The protagonist-antagonist conflict resolution is very similar to this. So I would say the neuroscience of storytelling can be summarized in the hero journey would then bring some sort of neuro peace. Neuroscientific piece. I never discussed that, so it's new for me, but it's interesting.
No, I love it, because I hope, definitely for myself and anyone else watching or listening, that this conversation will lead to watching movies in a different way.
Nice.
I do remember that on the first day of film school, they said, you will never watch a movie the same way again after this experience. But this is taking it to another level, the psychology of film. It's really interesting. Okay, next card, please.
Next card. There's a lot of cards. Transpersonal and psychedelic films.
Yeah. Okay, have a think of that. Films exploring altered states of consciousness, spirituality, and transcendence. And perhaps also talking a bit about psychedelic-assisted therapy, where it intersects with cinema and cinema's ability to provide mystical experiences.
So I don't know about psychedelic films, but what I'm familiar is about documentary about the psychedelic experience. So we produce at Mangusta Production, we produced a bunch of documentary on ayahuasca, iboga, psilocybin. So the psychedelic experience remain one of my most it remains one of the most interesting activity, if you want. It's going through a little bit of a contraction now, because I think it's been a little bit abused in the West, and maybe there's not a fully understand on how to use this medicine. I think that the West has this approach of the shortcut, the silver bullet, I'll take the pill, and the psychedelics they're not. That is a psychedelic is not a pill. It's like a process. Is even more than that. It's like an ontology. Is a way. Is a value system. When the indigenous people talk about the river as being my brother, and the sun my uncle, and the moon my grandmother, and the mountain my sister, it's not a metaphor. They mean it literally. They feel that like the animist belief system, believe that we are molecularly connected to the rocks, to the water, to the stone, to nature. So having said so, there are still very interesting application of psychedelic for mental well-being, for PTSD, for depression, for anxiety. So I've started myself. We produced Neurons of Nirvana, was the first documentary about really Neurons of Nirvana was about 5 psychedelics. It was about ayahuasca, psilocybin, MDMA, cannabis, and magic mushroom, maybe. Then I distributed and helped producing many other documentary on ayahuasca, on iboga. So my experience with psychedelic and films has been more into documenting rather than psychedelic film per se. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And thank you so much for mentioning the films that you've made. They're kind of listed on another one of the cards.
See.
But just to capture that last bit, which is that cinema has the ability to provide a mystical experience, almost like a psychedelic or dream. Cinema can take people to altered states and
totally.
Other dimensions.
Absolutely.
That's kind of one of the most exciting things maybe about filmmaking is creating dimensions and experiences for people to go on without the psychedelics or being asleep. Somebody once described dreaming to me as like going to the cinema for free. And do you have a favorite film that creates a mystical experience for you? If you like 1 or 2 films that you just go, wow, that is visually, thematically, like it takes you to another dimension.
It's funny because my honeymoon with films really was in the 90s. And so my love affair with movie started with, Polanski, Woody Allen, Coppola. So in a way, it was a little bit dark, right?
I think when I think of the 90s, I think of Trainspotting, La Haine. Those were kind of the dark, stylish films.
I remember, I resonate with all the Polanski movie, Bitter Moon and Rosemary Baby, and they were a little bit dark. And then when I arrived in New York, in the 2010, I fell in love with documentary. And now actually we are like more as a family, we're going back to movies. And what I feel the quality of feature films, you can tell from the Oscars. You see the Oscars of the 70s, you have like, The Godfather, and now this Oscar nominated, they're not amazing, like this year and last year. So I want to answer your question. I loved Anatomy of a Fall. I feel that was for me, was it mystical? I felt that the exploration of these couple dynamics were really accurate and enlightening. But then, because again, we see all this movie through the lens of our own story.
Yeah.
So for me, relationship, especially romantic relationship, has been one of the things I'm most interested about. And so there was this exploration of husband and wife, which I think was very powerful.
Yeah.
I wish I had more movies I could mention the last few years that really hit me in the stomach. But The Substance was... It wasn't not even a movie, right? I think it was more like...
I have not seen it, but I hear such good things about it.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
very dark, but there is something, I feel it's more like video art. It reminded me of
I have to see it.
yeah. There's a video artist, also filmmaker, called Steve McQueen, who's done all this.
Yeah. Steve McQueen was one of our tutors at St. Martin's. He's one of my
Yes.
teachers. Yeah.
And he does all this work with bodily fluids.
Yeah.
And I felt a lot of that in the substance. But, now that you ask me, that's came
That's
to
what's coming
mind.
to you. Yeah, as a recent
As a
sort
recent,
of mystical
yeah.
experience. For me,
Yeah.
all of Terry Gilliam's movies are mystical experiences because they're so heavy on aesthetic and set design, but very surreal. Like all of his stories and journeys are with
Yeah.
such surreal characters. And David Lynch,
Yeah.
mystical experiences I find through,
yeah.
rest in peace. He's just passed away and everybody's awakening to David Lynch
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Okay, do you want to choose another card?
Yes. Mango TV.
Okay, yes, Mango TV. What inspired you to set up Mango TV? What is the concept, the driving vision, and what are some of the films you present? And also, what films are you looking for now in case anyone out there wants to send some movies?
Okay, so I think it was like late 90s, beginning of the 2000s. A friend of mine was a filmmaker, and he asked me to shoot a short movie. It was a short movie based on one of oh my God, I have a doubt now. It was a short movie. I think it was called Music for Chameleons. I can't remember the author now, but anyhow. So he asked me to shoot this short in the loft in New York, and that was my real first exposure to filmmaking. And it was amazing. I mean, it was, for me, it was like almost like a godlike quality of between action and cut, creating a world back in time, creating mood and character, and yeah, it was amazing. And so I loved it so much. And my friend was like, most house owner, they hate to have the music, to have the film crew, because they're messy, they're invasive, the cables everywhere. But I loved it. Yeah. And so it started like that. So I produced this little short. It was called Beautiful Child. And then I helped my friend Tao Ruspoli with this first movie called Fix with Olivia Wilde. And that was, I loved the test screening, the process of getting closer to telling a story, and on how you could really, you feel so empowered in, changing the character, creating a new character. It's a very intoxicating process. Then I met Daniel Pinchbeck, who had wrote at the time, it was Breaking Your Mind Open about psychedelic. It was considered like a modern Castaneda. And then he wrote a book called 2012, The Return of Quetzalcoatl. And so we did a documentary based on his book, on this idea that global transformation will come from personal transformation. So that's how it started. And then we did more documentary. We did a documentary on called Being in the World, based on Heidegger, on what it means to be humans. We did documentary with Ricky Lake on We the People, about the therapeutical benefit of cannabis in conjunction with chemotherapy for pediatric cancer. Anyhow, they're all on mango.tv. And then we also license others documentary that we like, and we aggregate them in this web channel that you can have a look for yourself.
And are there any particular themes that you would love people to send you their fantastic documentaries on?
So, we're not doing production anymore because it's just too expensive and too long.
I mean, completed films. If anyone out there has got a really good documentary on what particular themes would you love to
on the website, people can see there is like three groups. There is psychedelic medicine that continue to remain an interest of mine. It would be nice to see a little bit less of the medical application and more of a ontological paradigm shifting, on how can, not just how this medicine can reduce the blood supply in the brain and allow for healing. It's all true and it's all important, but I'd love to see more cinematographic exploration of what are the values that this medicine brings and how these values can be integrated in the West. So there is a psychedelic medicine. Then there is, one topic which for me is very interesting is intimacy and sexuality and romantic love. So we have Monogamish on the movement of ethical non-monogamy. And then our new head of acquisition of Mango TV has finally brought us, I hope everything goes well, the second title called Sexology. And I'd love more. Basically, I'm interested on like sexuality. I didn't mention earlier, but it's definitely an expanded state. This idea that, eros and not just the typical orgasm, the way we see it, but orgasmic states are a way of feeling connected, otherworldly, la petite mort in French, right? So in that sense, orgasmic states are a state of divine connection. So I'm interested in that. I'm interested on not just on this divine connection state, but I'm interested on how can this divine connection states then can bring to healing. How are they informative on the life you want to live? It's a state of awe, of vulnerability, of awe. And then the third is regeneration. So that's a very wide, we, in regeneration, this idea that, so the term is used in agriculture, meaning regenerative agriculture is an agriculture that preserves biodiversity and so feeds your microbiota for the perfect, nutrients and of your body. So that's for the body, not body nutrition. And for mind regeneration is this concept of developing awareness and learn to go through life responding to the external stimulation of life, but not reacting. So a reaction is out of a wounded place. If you tell me to take the garbage out and I start screaming, there is more there. It's not just the garbage. And in romantic relationship, in family, with your kids, with your husband, with your parents, it's very charged. And so it's important to know to respond and not react. So a regenerative lifestyle is a lifestyle designed to continue the inner exploration, the inner landscape. So that's the three groups.
So cool. So cool. Yes. And they all connect together because I think consciousness is the one word that's in all three, isn't it? And when I hear expanded states coming up a lot in your vision, in your creating, in your interests. And it's making me wonder if ideally life can be an expanded state. Or do you think life is a grounded state and the joy in life is the expanded state?
It's interesting. Basically, the expanded state is the peak experience and it's important and it's intoxicating, but then you need to accompany the peak experience with the peak. And what's the country of peak?
Like embodied or lived experience. There's the
plateau experience.
Yeah.
So there's a peak experience and there's a plateau experience. So it's a balance. I love peak experience, of course, but sometimes it can be an addiction, I know, and I was a victim, I did far too much ayahuasca without doing the integration, the therapy, just because I like the peak state. I like that state of divine intoxication.
Yeah. I think
So
of
it's a
extreme
balance.
sports, adrenaline junkies.
The polo,
So it's
Absolutely.
a combination of peak experiences
And plateau experience,
and embodied.
Embodied, yeah.
So we don't. I'm just going to pull these cards together, and I'm going to do quick fire questions for the last few minutes. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, well-being through watching films, self-reflection, compassion, sense of meaning, slow cinema. What do you have to say about well-being through watching films?
I think we covered that.
think so too.
Is this idea that you can get inspiration from movies to look at your psychological notes.
Good. Psychodrama and storytelling.
So psychodrama is a big topic.
I know.
Do you think we can go over it a little bit?
Because we'll cut some stuff out.
Because psychodrama, it opens a big topic, which is Jodorowsky, right?
Yeah, he's the other thing. I have Jodorowsky here. Psychomagic.
Yeah.
Psychodrama and psychomagic.
Sorry. Not Jodorowsky is psychomagic.
Yeah.
So psychodrama also, it's an important topic for me because it's usually associated with family constellation, and that's something which really helped me in rehab.
Yeah.
When I went in rehab 2012, this idea that using drama and drama school with a group of actors of friends actor, you can reenact childhood event that you can relive, but with the knowledge you have now. So a typical psychodrama exercise that we're doing in rehab was, okay, so I remembered when I was in a tennis club in Rome with my father. I was naked and my father was making fun of me that I didn't have any girlfriend or something in front of everybody. So I was naked. I was like, I don't know, 14.
That sounds like a dream. Is that a real situation? Yeah. I'm so sorry that you had to.
And that came out in one of the therapeutical session. And so we work on that. And so they recreated that same scene where I could play me at 14, but with the knowledge I have now. So it was a way to heal and to create like a cathartic moment around this mini trauma, this development trauma, where I would address my father saying, do you really think that that's what I need to hear now in this moment? And it was very cathartic.
Yeah. It sounds like you also had a chance to take care of your inner child.
With the psychodrama?
Yeah, fathering yourself in a way.
Totally.
Yeah. So how does it relate to, like theatrical film techniques? Oh, yeah. So that's part of the psychodrama where people are basically acting.
Exactly.
Are you acting or other actors? People are playing your family.
Yeah.
And what about psychomagic?
But so psychomagic, this is more Jodorowsky work. But based on symbol and rituals. They use, have you heard about the Hoffman process?
Yeah.
So they do a little bit of psychomagic. Basically, you go to your own funeral, you write things under your feet. It's basically you anchor into your psyche with external movement and processes. And Jodorowsky had this exercise where you would go almost naked, painted half in black, half in white, and interacting with people. I mean, this idea of like using ritual and symbol as part of a healing process. I'm not a Jodorowsky expert, but I find this psychomagic present in mystery school like Ista, which I find very interesting. I don't know if we have time for that today, but next time we talk about Ista.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we could talk, you can mention that if you want to. Do you want to talk about this stuff?
When you were asking me about the topic that Mango TV is interested on, this idea of sexuality, another reason why I think is interesting, because as you might have gathered, I'm interested in healing and transformation. So in the Castaneda tradition, I can't remember now, it's not... I can't remember exactly how is it called, but they have this metaphor that the pain bodies, like psychological knots that we want to find, address, and in a way release, in this tradition, they are called buffalo. And so in this tradition, your pain body they're like buffalo that you need to kill. In reality, you don't kill your pain bodies, but you make friends. But this is just this metaphor. And so in order for you to kill this buffalo, you need to be, very precise, very fast, very calm, even respectful. And in this tradition, they say that the best way to get the buffalo is when they drink at the water. But sometimes it's late, so you don't see them. And so in this tradition, they say that sexuality is like a light that makes your pain body more visible, so you can kill them more easily. And it's true. Try to go, with a group of strangers and be naked and be trying to do very things out there. You're full of insecurity. I mean, we in our behavior, we are full of insecurity with sexuality because of the Judeo-Christian morality, because all the reason why we don't have to get into, but we develop a sense of shame and guilt around sexuality. So sexuality is not only a pleasant intoxication, divine experience, but it's also a light to enlighten your pain bodies, your psychological knots you need to develop. And that's what ISTA does,
I feel like today you have shared so many wonderful keys of looking at things in a new way, from, identifying with characters and learning more about yourself to shining a light on the pain body through sexuality. So anyone listening has a lot of experiments to do now, right? Nice. Let's just wrap this up with you as a producer. Will you be making more films, or are you you are right now between Mango TV and Difuso growing these two beautiful companies. And what would bring you back to producing another movie?
So
not that I am trying to make you make another movie,
I know,
but you've made great
know.
films.
I know you're dying to produce something.
I know, right? What does it take to get you back into the producer role?
So first of all, there is a new documentary that we finished and it's still not out there. It's a 30 minutes film on the Ibiza agricultural regenerative scene. We interview regenerative farmers and chefs. And this is gonna go on Mango TV pretty soon.
Does it have a title?
It's called the Ibiza Revolution, something like that. But so, in terms of like future production, I'm fascinated like everybody about AI, right? So now you can see already on Instagram, there are like 2-3 minutes full on movie, completely AI animated.
Yeah.
So, Shane Smith from Vice, I heard him in an interview saying that in 3 years, Hollywood is going to be dead. And I mean, already now I see in advertisement, like, a brand used to like hire a place, hire the actor, hire the camera. Now it's just like a guy writing prompt and you have incredible, much cheaper, much faster video. So I would be interested to explore AI animated film. This is going to take some time, so we'll talk next time. But, in philosophy, I'm always struggling because my topic of, divine consciousness and different ontology, they sounds very new age. And people lose interest without really paying attention.
I feel there's a growing interest.
They're growing, but it's still a minority. When you talk about divine consciousness, you lose people immediately.
Not me.
No, I know. That's why we're here.
Yes.
But in philosophy, which there's much more respect than into the new age, they talk about metamodernism.
Yeah.
So there's modernism, there's postmodernism, metamodernism. Again, we don't have time to get into it, but in the metamodernism value system, there is room for a cosmic consciousness. This idea that consciousness is not created by the brain, but is primordial. And so I'll be interested to work with the AI animator, creating a story that takes place in modernist, postmodernist, and metamodernist time.
Yeah, that is actually really exciting because AI has the capacity to visualize
anything.
The psyche, the imagination, mysticism.
Anything.
even taking some of these plant medicine journeys and visualizing what they must be. So that's next for you.
Okay.
AI collaborations. Cool. So on that note, I really want to thank you for making time to sit with me and talk about things that are very important to me. Filmmaking, wellness, creativity, these are my passions in life. So I love hearing from you about all the cool things you've done. You're a cool dude, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Giada. And I think we should get out of the closet about our professional relationship.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because, you said, what movie should they send me to me? But the reality is that we are now collaborating.
Send them to me. And if I like them, I'll send them to Giancarlo. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I love watching movies, and if they're good and they hit the right notes.
Mostly.
Documentaries, exactly. Documentaries. And it's wonderful that you actually really support documentary making by programming documentary films. Real life is stranger than fiction, right?
Thank you, Giada.
Thank you, Giancarlo.
Thank you.
Be the love, be the light. Hear your voice, spirits calling. Be the love, be the light. Hear your voice, spirits calling. Awaken to the rhythm of the falling rain. Surrender to the moment, let it wash your pain away. Awaken to the rhythm of the falling rain. Surrender to the moment, let it wash your pain away. You are the light, you are the light. Lift your voices, spirits calling. You have enough, you are alright. You've got a choice to stand from falling. Awaken to the rhythm of the falling rain. Surrender to the moment, let it wash your pain away. Awaken to the rhythm of the falling rain. Surrender to the moment, let it wash your pain away. Beauty shines from the inside out. Beauty shines from the inside out. Beauty shines from the inside out. Beauty shines from the inside out.
Koka sunarai sunarayanti. Koka sunarayanti. Koka sunarayanti. Koka sunarayanti. Koka sunarayanti. Koka sunarayanti.